What's going on, everyone? It's Chris. It's my first face video in quite some time. I haven't really posted anything except besides the last couple of days. I posted a couple clips of me playing FIFA and streamed a couple video. Had a couple of streams of me playing Warzone with some of my friends and stuff. Kind of working on getting back into YouTube one way or another. But here we are. This is just a little short video of me kind of expressing how I think after this wild year that we're having right now, how it's going to turn around once we go into 2021. Obviously, uh, on hand right now, we have from the top of the year the COVID-19 pandemic. We're dealing with that now. But now, on top of that, we are dealing with wild protests, looting, and the Black Lives Matter movement, which I 100% support to a degree. I don't really agree with the whole looting and the more violent part of it that happens at night with protesters breaking into these businesses, these expensive businesses, and looting stuff. I don't really understand that bit, but yeah. So in 2021, I predict a 100%, well, maybe not 100%, but a majority of the world is going to be very different. Majority of our lives are going to be very different. Um, I, the stock market's almost inevitably going to crash at this point. It's even before the year, it's been teetering. Um, but I definitely expect some sort of stock market crash. Um, we're definitely going to be dealing with different types of guidelines and stuff, to because right now it's predicted that we're going to have a second wave once the weather cools down around the fall and winter, which makes sense, because this virus thrives in colder temperatures. That's why it was so bad in February, and things really started, getting pretty bad. Because technically this virus started at the end of last year in December. Um, and I think actually November. So, colder times it thrives a bit more. Now they said that in the summer, if the heat gets to a certain point, if it's humid, it's gonna lose its strength. It's going to be weaker and not as potent. So whatever. They're saying that it's gonna be a second wave come probably October, November, right? So now they're also saying from the beginning of this whole thing that they don't expect a vaccine until some point next year. So this time travel, we're in 2021. I definitely expect there to be the 6 feet social distancing thing. That's still to be expected to be in effect. Business like restaurants and stuff that are a bit more crowded. Um, Obviously, public transportation right now. I mean, I know firsthand because I take it. A lot of these trains and stuff are limited to a certain amount of people on at the same time. Now that's a bit easier because everybody's not really working. If you're not an essential worker, you're either working from home or you're not working at all. Um, so that's a little bit easier to maintain. Now I'm not really sure how they're going to do that once everybody starts coming outside more and everybody's starting to go back to work and stuff. Now in terms of that, I know there are a lot of businesses that are trying to, for as long as I guess they can, try to keep people working at home, working remotely. Which is pretty easy, I guess, depending on what you do. Okay, so there's still going to be social distancing. I still expect that. I don't think people are going to be really caring to wear the masks and stuff as much. Now I think that should be necessary. I feel like it should be starting to. I feel like wearing masks should slightly be incorporated into our lives a little bit more, into our culture. We see the Asian countries, they're a little bit more populated, a little bit more crammed, but that's part of their culture. They protect themselves if they're sick. They protect themselves if somebody else is sick. So I feel like that should be implemented into our culture a little bit more. You know, especially if you're working places like the city. It's you're taking mass transportation. You're constantly bumping into people walking the streets of New York. So I would hope that that's still maintained a little bit. I would hope that the governors of our respective towns and cities would try to hold on to that as long as they can, at least until the bottom end, sorry, of 2021. Um, so we have economic crisis, with stock market crashing. We have social distancing and masks. Um, I don't expect businesses to really limit how many people come in. I feel like that's probably going to be gotten rid of by next year. I'm an essential worker, and now we haven't really been implementing not anymore. Uh, rules on limiting how many people we can have in where I work at the same time. Um, a lot of people are saying 50 is the minimum amount of people, but that unless it's like a smaller business, like maybe a mom and pop shop or like a deli or something, that's not really being pushed so much. I feel like anymore. Um, and even going back to the masks, people are lightening up on that. Even just walking outside, going into somewhere. A lot of businesses don't. If you don't wear a mask, you don't wear gloves, they're not going to let you inside. And there's also a lot of people that are only accepting cards in their businesses too, which makes sense because money is filthy. Um, so I don't know. I don't really see that really holding up so much in terms of like amount of people in a business at once. Um, okay, so off of COVID because there's only so much that you could do. I mean, I do see a vaccine coming. I'm not really sure when. That's kind of hard to say because you hear sometimes that they've made progress on the vaccine, and you hear that there's failings and stuff. So that's almost definite to happen next year, but we'll see. I know they're doing all these antibody testings and stuff now. They have that 15-minute test where you can see if you have the antibodies and stuff. So that's good, and I would hope that soon that you normal people will be able to get their hands on that a little bit more easier. I know, like I said, it's out now, but if we can get our hands on it, like me and you could get our hands on it a little bit easier, that'd be lovely. Okay, so now let's talk about like bigger places like amusement parks and stuff. The 6 feet social distancing is being placed. If you guys know much about Disney, um, the Asian um, Disney parks have already opened up and they've already got that stuff in place. With temperature checking. I do see that being a thing when airports open back up and DMVs open back up, places that hold massive amounts of people at once. Temperature checking is definitely going to be a thing. I absolutely expect that. I know a lot of people feel as though it's kind of like, I guess, somewhat of a placebo, but if naturally when you're sick, you're going to have a higher temperature, or a lower temperature, and either way, that's really bad. But that I still have some faith in the temperature checking. For me, where I work, we have to get our temperature checked before we're able to even punch in. So that I absolutely expect that at places like airports. Um, and I mean, maybe even some places will even use that 15-minute test. You never know. Okay, so that's how I feel about COVID. That's how I feel like it's gonna affect us next year. Now, the riots and stuff that can go on for a while. It's as strong and as passionate as everybody is right now. I feel like that could keep going until possibly the end of this year. You never know. And I personally would hope that there will be some sort of change out of this. It's a little bit more powerful, a little bit more. It's got a little bit more legs on it than than it has in the past. We see tons of celebrities out there. We see tons of people. We see tons of white people even speaking out um, in support of this. We see videos, even police. There's still love in this. It's just it's just so wrong, and it's just so evil what has happened. Rest in peace to George Floyd. Rest in peace to Tamir Rice, and rest in peace to everybody who's been affected by this. Rest in peace, or my condolences with everybody's family who's been affected by this. I see this being a little bit more effective than it has been in the past. Um, and with this, it makes you think. With all of this, with this whole year, it makes you think. It makes you really think inside. What can you do to help this movement? What can you do to help the essential workers and the people who are on the front lines and on the ground working towards healing the world, healing the world from COVID, healing the world from racism. It's so this year is just so dark and so bad. The world's practically on fire, literally and figuratively. So it's all very powerful. And I do hope that there's some sort of change, some sort of justice for everyone. Uh, once we get into next year, I would hope. Now they have arrested and charged all four of those police officers that were there for the events that unfolded with George Floyd. Um, the main guy, Chauvin, whatever his name is, he's been charged with second-degree murder, and the other three were charged with uh, interference of justice or something along the lines in second degree murder. It's a lighter charge, um, but still, it's there's some justice, but not enough. And with Ahmaud Arbery before George Floyd as well, it's everything's just so bad, and I you could only hope for a lighter 2021, but we're still going to feel and see the effects of this year. Um, so yeah, there we go. It's a 12, 13 minute rant of me just kind of predicting things for next year. Um, I'm sure in my head I've kind of I had so many thoughts in my head I probably glossed over a couple points, but yeah, I'm in 100% support of the peaceful side of these protests. I'm not really sure. I guess I kind of understand what people are trying to do with these lootings and breaking into these businesses, but I'm not really in support of that because it's just more violence, and that it's kind of proving the racist point. And oh, there's animals. Look what they're doing. Break into these businesses. Being violent, and you know there's a peaceful way to rebel, and breaking into businesses and stealing shit, that's just not really it. Um, and on the other hand, before I go, I absolutely 100% think that right now, everything that's happening this year is really going to affect people's views on the so-called president that we have in office right now. Even the candidates, everybody's front and center. Everybody's on display at this moment. If you're trying to run for president, you need to take this time right now, this year, and do what you can to show that you can be better than what we have right now. Donald Trump 100% is not doing himself any justice right now with everything. He's getting in front of camera looking like a fool. Like he's getting on Twitter saying spewing bullshit, not really doing himself any justice, not really proving that he is what is worth. He is worth being in office. And I hope his supporters and everybody else sees that he's just not it, that he is not the answer. He's not going to make the world any better. And so I would hope that the candidates that we have left right now in this presidential race will capitalize and try to show that they are in. Hopefully, they will actually be it. They will actually make a difference. All right, so that's it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Like I said, I have so many thoughts in my head. I probably gloss over a couple things, but you guys be safe. Everybody be safe. Do what you can. 6 feet. Do what you can. Be healthy. Um, and yeah, and if you're out there on the front lines, thank you, from an essential worker. Thank you for doing what you can to heal the world. And if you're protesting, be safe. Don't get into the looting. Peace.